Hello everyone! So welcome back to more Cartoon Network Princess Explosion. So we're going on to a level where there's a bunch of enemies. And I think Captain Knuckles' strong attacks will help in this scenario.
Sticky Bear's pirates have overrun the treehouse. Wow. Pirates, secret bases, candy legs. This show has everything. Kids next door.
Repel the pirates at all costs. Battle stations! So yeah, this entire level... This entire level is just an enemy gauntlet. Of the same, like, 5 enemies. Oh, that's really fitting! To have number 2 fighting alongside us while we're in the treehouse. That works. But yeah, so Captain Knuckles' really powerful attacks will play a big hand here. Yeah, so... Yeah, this level's pretty standard. It's just your basic enemy gauntlet. I'm actually going to swap to Flapjack for this, because Flapjack can take out like a huge amount of enemies in one go with his super attack. Let's go ahead and get this. Oh, wow! Perfect timing again, having number 2. That was a tough fight, but I think we're in for something even tougher. Ooh, look at that giant ship headed our way. It's pretty. It's not pretty, Flapjack. It's Sticky Beard, and he's headed straight for us. I bet that ship is loaded with candy. Hey, Flap, let's help this kid take down that pirate, and by help, I mean, let's let him do the hard work so we can sneak on board and live like kings. Do you like that realistic raccoon in the background? But yeah, so... And then for this, we'll play as number 1. Because he's the only playable character. They really want you to play as him. I don't know why they just, like, didn't force me to play as him. It's just kind of odd. Nice timing, number 2. Yeah, so, just kind of out of the blue, you start fighting, the Toilinator, which... I find that kind of strange. It just kind of happens randomly. But, hey, whatever. It's a cool fight. But yeah, this is the only time that Toilinator shows up, and I honestly think he's only a boss here just so that, you know, you can unlock him. Because you unlock the Toilinator after, Do you unlock the Toilinator? I think you do. You know what? Actually, I could be wrong. I think you unlock the Toilinator, but I could be totally wrong. But either way, I think the only reason that he's a boss here is because he's a playable character. Because other than that, he would never appear in the story mode. Yeah, other than that, there would never be a situation for him to actually appear. So I think that's the only reason why he's a boss fight here, but it kind of comes out of nowhere. I think it's also that, and also it pads out the Codenames Next Door plot point. Because if this wasn't a boss fight, there'd only be 2 levels in the entire entirety of Codenames Next Door world, which, you know, it's not a lot. So it also adds in this this as a playable stage in free play mode. So you know, it's a reason to be there, but not reason plot wise. Now let's get Sticky Beard. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, you just kind of shoot a bunch, and you have to make sure that the school bus like doesn't take a bunch of damage. It's really easy, and yeah, you just kind of like just mash the A button. Is the easiest way to do this. If you mash it fast enough, pretty much you'll destroy anything that comes down. And you also got to shoot these cannons, which are also pretty easy to shoot. And yeah. And that's it. Sticky Beard's been driven off once more, thanks to the kids next door and our 2 new friends. Knuckles, I want to check out all your wooden pieces and compare them to our 2x4 technology. Looking's free, but touching's gonna cost you, so just go ahead and take us back. We don't know how to do that. You mean we're stuck here? Away from Stormalong Harbor? Away from Bubby? How are we gonna get home?
Aw, man, the channel flipped just as it was getting really good. It was just like my favorite high-impact action soap, The Young and the Wrestlers. Looks like Dexter's up to something over here. Hey, wait a minute. Father? What's he doing here? But if Father is in the lab with Dexter, where did everyone else go? It's the city of Townsville, home to the most amazing kindergarten superheroes, the Powerpuff Girls. Uh-oh, looks like Mojo Jojo's causing a big no-no. And somehow I'm rhyming. At least it sounded so-so. That hurt to even watch.
I really like on Dexter's computer screen, it had words, but all it said is, "This is just gibberish, do not pay attention to this." So, anyway, now we unlocked Bubbles and Blossom as playable characters, but for some reason only Blossom is required. I do know, or not Blossom, but Bubbles is required. I do know Bubbles has a short little mini-game segment in this level, so I guess that's why, but it's just kind of funny. Anyway, let's do Buttercup, and then finish off with Ben.
It's the city of Townsville, home to the most amazing kindergarten superheroes, the Powerpuff Girls.
It's Buttercup, she's back. Oh man, I've been on a crazy adventure. No time to talk about it right now, Buttercup. Mojo Jojo's on a rampage, and we need to save Townsville from being destroyed. Stay in a tight formation, this place is like a maze. Yeah, not really. Alright, so, Buttercup's pretty cool. She has Ice Breath, which can freeze opponents, and Bubbles can scream. And also, she is the only one to have lasers, so that's pretty cool. So, although I'm going to be playing as Blossom for the majority of this, as Bubbles, like I mentioned, does have a minigame segment. Does have a minigame segment later on that will take up a good chunk of the level. And I'll also be using her probably for the boss, but I haven't totally figured out who I'm going to be using for the boss. Most likely Bubbles. So yeah, I guess since we're on this, I guess I'll say my experience with this show. I actually quite like it. For the longest time, I didn't really care about it. But probably, and this is gonna sound funny because it's gonna sound like my opinion on it was completely influenced by this, but it really wasn't. Once I started watching like cartoon reviewers, I actually wanted to watch the show and was like, okay, let me watch some more of this, and I ended up really, really liking it. So it's not like my opinion was influenced by them. It was more like they just kind of introduced me to it, and I was like, oh, this show is actually good. I knew the Powerpuff Girls existed, but I didn't really care to watch it. Which, seems obvious. I mean, if you're, if you're like a, 12, 13-year-old, you probably wouldn't really care about a show called the Powerpuff Girls. Unless you knew prior that it was an action show. Anyway, here's the minigames segment that I was talking about. Yeah, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's really long. It takes up a huge chunk of this level. And gotta admit, I can't say I like it that much. It's pretty boring, it goes on for way too long. There's bombs exploding everywhere. There's also, like, a boss moment at the end of this. It's just, like, not that fun to play. Also, it's really, really loud. I'm gonna turn this down. Okay, there you go. Turn that down a little bit. Now, I think you can actually die in this segment, but I think you have to accumulate like 300%. So, and at that point you have to restart the entirety of it. But it's just like, I'm fine with kind of a, one of these types of situations, but like that there. That was like 30 straight seconds of just nothing happening. Like, does that really need, I mean, if you're gonna make a shmup section, if you're gonna make like a bullet hell section, like, why just have like segments of where nothing's happening? It just seems kind of redundant, and it's really boring. So yeah, not one of the best parts, honestly. Actually, this level in general just doesn't really convey like the Powerpuff Girls to me that much. But speaking about, so, how much of the show I've watched about a full season, give or take. And I've seen the movie, which, the movie's alright. I think the biggest thing about the movie for me is the comedy is very strange. Because, Craig McCracken created, the Powerpuff Girls, and after the Powerpuff Girls, she made Foster's Home. And the comedy seems very much like an episode of Foster's Home. It's very interesting. It's doesn't feel like an episode of the Powerpuff Girls, and that's probably because the movie was made like right before, either right before or right after the release of Foster's Home. So it's like her comedy style changed, and she just kept it for the movie. So yeah, I mean, at least that's, I mean, then again, I've only seen like I said, give or take one season of Powerpuff Girls, so the humor could be exactly the same. I don't know. Oh, to add on to how long this stage is, you now have another catapult segment? Yeah, again, kind of out of nowhere, but yeah, and this one's more difficult, yay! Because you have to hit 2 sections of Mojo Jojo. You have to hit the head and the body is a lot more difficult to hit than the head. Because the body, you have to really angle it in a way for it to hit. The head's really easy. So the body, you basically have to wait for him to destroy that second building, and then you have a chance to hit. It's just, like, weird. I've never failed this, but I definitely have had it to where he's destroyed all 3 buildings. I'm not really sure what happens. I'm assuming you just die and you have to restart that segment if he gets to you. I don't know. Just like with the Flapjack segment, I don't really know what happens if you miss that. Anyway, we're almost done with this. This is actually probably one of the longest sections, or one of the longest levels in the game. Only rivaling, like pretty much only rivaling one of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy levels, which appears at like very end in the game. Feels good to be fighting together again. You call that fighting? I'm just getting warmed up to pound Mojo Jojo into next week.
Wow, now that was some exciting television.
Alright, so I can probably do this fight coming up and then I can stop. For some reason, Bubbles isn't available. That ruins my plan. So, actually, for this situation, I'm just going to play as Ben, because he's, I'll explain it whenever we actually get to it. It's Mojo Jojo's latest dumb plan to wreck Townsville. Who's Mojo Jojo? He's a supervillain monkey genius with a giant exposed brain. That is not the weirdest thing I've seen today, actually. I'll take him out. Not so fast, you big bossy big boss. I think the toughest one of us needs to take Mojo on. Alright, bring it. Oh, I brought it, prepared it, and I'm ready to serve it to you fist first. So now you have to fight everybody? I love it how... I really don't think I think they were just trying to scramble around to find ideas. And a big question is, why can't I play as Bubbles here? Why was she grayed out? And then you might be wondering, okay, so the character that you pick gets to fight Mojo Jojo, right? Well, I'll explain that in a second. I'll explain that when we finish this. And there's 2 opponents down. And now time to be 1 opponent down. Now I just need to get inside this mechanical monkey's head and he'll be defeated in no time. Okay, so you know, I beat this area, I beat this like little fight as Ben, and now I can only play as Ben and the boss, right? Well, no, every character is playable, even characters that aren't even supposed to be here. Like, these 3 characters are off in a different, like, show. Why are they here? They said they're stuck there. They said they're stuck in the Codenames Next Door world. Why can't I play as them? So, in this case, I am going to play as Bubbles since I did, you know, since I haven't really had a chance to play as her a ton. But yeah, it's just weird. It's such a weird segment that I think was just overlooked by the developers. There's no way I'm going to let you destroy Townsville, Mojo. You are a fool if you think you can stop my giant robot primate, for only a fool would dare challenge the evil Mojo Jojo. Especially when I control a huge mechanical monkey.
Come on, everyone knows the only way to take down Mojo's robot is to destroy his power core.
So, like the narrator mentioned, the only way to destroy Mojo Jojo's robot is through his power core. Which means Mojo is just here as a distraction. You get nothing for actually defeating him, and he just reappears if you defeat him. So, yeah, kind of an annoying section, actually. So that's why, honestly, the 2 best characters for this section, if you're wanting to go by, like, story logic, the 2 best characters here are Bubbles and Ben, because they both have charging attacks that can just deal really quick damage. And this boss is almost toast. Ow. Get out of here, Mojo. Come on. Oh. There you go. Boss over. Where did Mojo go? Man, Mojo always gets away. I'm ready to get that monkey off my back. It doesn't matter. Townsville is safe. Let's get back to the capsule. There's more places that need our help. Alright, so that's it for the Powerpuff Girls world, and now we're going on to, I believe it's... I think we're going to Foster's home now, or Dexter's lab, either one of those. Most likely Foster's home, given the character roster here and how it's laid out. Anyway, see you guys in the next part.